Well, first of all, thank you guys for coming out for the interview over Discord.
Yeah.
So I have two sets of questions. One of them is set for Zach, and the other set is mainly for Monk. You guys can both chime in whenever you want. Because one's more oriented towards the Overwatch team, one's generally for a Soesic. So, for all the people who don't know what Soesic is out there, Zach, can you explain what Soesic is?
Sure. So it's a brand. It's a clothing company, but also an eSports organization. So we do clothing, mostly for gamers. But it's also good for like skaters and people like hip hop and stuff like that. Just like the younger generation, I guess you could say. It's kind of like our demographic.
So sort of like an urban wear sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're big on gamers. So that's kind of why we got into the esports org. So yeah, now it's more of like a general brand. We're doing both of those things. But yeah, at first it was just a clothing brand. So that's how we started.
And so why did you want to create the esports side of Soesic?
Right. So it's a lot of it's just like out of passion. Like I've been a gamer my whole life. So whenever we changed the brand from a skate brand to a gaming brand, I did that out of passion. And then I knew some live streamers and just always watched live streams. So that's how we like started advertising the brand. So it just made sense. It just fit. I knew it would help like the clothing brand, and then the clothing brand could help the org. So it was just like a good pairing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Did you have any challenges that happened during the process, or do you foresee any challenges that may happen in the future that you're preparing for?
I mean, it's always a grind to grow a new business. So it's kind of like especially difficult to try to grow two businesses because, like I did say, they do pair together well, but at the same time, it doubles the workload. So that's going to be a big challenge. And then it's kind of like with the esports where like everyone wants to kind of start one or be on one.
Yeah.
Or every gamer at least. So it's like the competition just grows every day more and more. So it's tough.
What ways are you going to set your org above like everyone else's?
That's definitely the staff. Like I think when people are going to start one, they think of, oh, we need good players, but it's a lot more, as much if not a lot more, like the coaches and the staff you bring on. So that's like when I found Monk, I was like, this guy's perfect for this, and he has been. When like our team's grown from like a top 10% to the top 500 easily just in a couple months. So definitely staff. That's what sets you apart.
And good segue into the next question. How has the staff been over all the games that you have?
Yeah, definitely good. So every game we've had ups and downs with the staff. Like we started out trying to do Call of Duty, and that didn't really work out. It was one of my buddies, and he just kind of wanted to go a different route. So that's one coach we lost. We had a Fortnite coach that it didn't work out. So we found a new one there. And then the same thing with Overwatch. So every game we've been in, we've had some ups and downs. But it's looking strong now. And like I said, Monk's really good. Soesik, the guy that does our Battle Royale division, he's really good. And we've got captain set up as well since there's so many players. So they're all doing really good. But yeah, there's definitely been some tough times there.
And just to recap, which games do you have rosters for currently?
Yeah, so we're currently doing Overwatch, Apex Legends we just started, and then we have Fortnite.
Do you have?
And then
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna add we have we have a couple of teams with Fortnite and a couple of teams with Apex. So we actually have a European team in Apex and then a European duo with Fortnite. But we're still mainly a North American team or eSports org.
Oh, cool. So it's like branched out across different regions. That's actually really nice.
Yeah, exactly. We just, thought we'd try it.
Yeah, I mean, Discord's a great way to facilitate that. So how involved have you been with the different rosters? Like, how involved?
So the captains and the coaches actually do the tryouts, and then I usually manage like the business side of things. And then kind of act as, I guess you could say, like an advisor. So like I have some involvement, but I try to like stay out of their way because I'm not able to be to every practice for every player.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, so I'm more of like a like an advisor type role, and then also handle the business side with contracts and stuff like that.
How many people do you have contracted right now?
I believe the numbers are around 30 at the moment. It's pretty up there. And then we have more players than that, but some aren't contracted because some are optional. So like it kind of depends on where the competition is, like the competition level. Mm-hmm. So with Overwatch, we're at a level now where it's mandatory, for example. So yeah, we're up to about 30 and looking to probably hit 40
and that's the
next couple of months.
And that's including staff and players?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay, cool. And what's been your greatest achievement so far with the org?
I would say it's more of like the progress we've gotten. I mean, we've won some tournaments in every division, but for me, like the actual achievement is just the progress. For example, with Overwatch, we were scrimming against like 3.7K, right, Monk? And then now it's like in struggling, and then now we're up to the point now where we can compete with like the best.
Yeah. I would say that we started with like 3.8, and now we've scrimmed the team around 4.2K, and we actually took it to them a little bit. I mean, we won some, lost some maps in the scrim, but yeah, we're getting up there. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, that's good. I've been taking a look at some of the Discords, and I saw a few your guys have hit Grandmaster, working their way up to top 500.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with Fortnite as well, on these weekend tournaments, we have players that place in the top charts. So
yeah,
it's all pretty quick, but also slow at the same time. Depends how you look at it, because we're such a new org, but it's just taken a couple months, and we're already starting to get to the top. So we just got to keep the momentum.
Yeah, I was hearing from OG Slim, one of the guys from the Fortnite team, that they're in like top 2%. All the players are like top 2% in the world. And I just thought that's crazy that we have that pool of people in our org. So, kind of cool to think about. Do you have any plans or ideas? Do you have brewing up in the near future that you can disclose? Any campaigns or anything? Any cool stuff?
I have stuff that comes to mind, but I'm not sure it's ready to disclose. So that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad you added that. I will say that we're updating the website tomorrow, but by the time this comes out, it's just going to be the website. So,
well, that'll be interesting for me.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever interviewed you or like wrote anything from you about the charity event that you guys did a couple months ago. So maybe you could fill the people in on what that was all about.
Yeah, for sure. So January 25th was the date. So it was about 2 months ago. Soesic hosted a Overwatch tournament for Extra Life for kids. It's a big charity organization. They're mostly known for like 24-hour live streams to raise money. and they help kids in hospitals, financially. So we were able to put a tournament together, and it averaged like 70 viewers, or maybe upwards of 80. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was pretty successful because it was like an 8-hour stream. So it's a really good average for such a long stream. And it was commentated. So we've actually got that on our YouTube channel. If anyone that is watching this wants to check it out. It was a really good turnout as far as viewers, and then also the volunteer staff was great. We had 2 commentators that actually do open division and contenders commentating, so they were like pretty decent sized names in the Overwatch community, so that was pretty cool. But most importantly, we raised over $500. That was our goal, was $500. So we met our goal, raised pretty good chunk of change for a good cause.
Well, the kids,
for sure.
Kids.
I heard, if I remember, was it Shanghai Dragons that sponsored or like shipped in?
Guns out charge.
Guns out charge.
Yeah. Charge. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Not the Shanghai Dragon.
Nope, different team.
Not the ones who went 0-49.
Yikes.
On fire.
Okay, well, that's sort of all I had for Zach, unless you had like any other stuff you wanted to like pipe in.
Not really. I might jump in on some of Monk's questions.
Yeah, totally. I know you're more involved with the Overwatch team since you're more of an Overwatch player yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like low silver, right?
No, mid plat.
Okay.
One day, Glacial.
One day.
Yeah, nothing wrong with silver, man. Don't worry.
Hey, carry me. I'm a Grandmaster Genji, I swear. I can deflect all the Hanzo arrows. All right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
coach.
I know.
All right. So, Monk, go ahead and introduce yourself to the crowd.
So my name is Monk. I am the COO. I guess that's the official title for the Overwatch division. I am the head coach for the team currently. So my background is as far as gaming goes, I did game pretty much all my life since I was a kid, but competitive first person shooter stuff didn't really come into a little later in my life. So but yeah, I posted something on Reddit. Zach contacted me, sat in on a session, did an interview. I guess he liked me enough to hire me. So that's kind of where I came from. So
Reddit's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Where would we be without Reddit, dude?
Honestly, facts. So, in your opinion, what's the current state of the team? Like, how's it doing? How's it stack up against its competition?
So the way the team started was we kind of drafted a little more based off of like a long-term type of a build. So when me and the previous head coach that was with us, when we were first drafting the team, it was more in the sense of like, let's draft people that we think we can like develop. And so we weren't looking for just the highest SR team. But just the way things kind of fell, we had players that ranged from 3.2K all the way up to players that had been to top 500 in past seasons. And so because of the large range, the lower SR players kind of grew a little bit as players. The higher SR players did get better here and there. And so, like I mentioned earlier, like we started screaming teams that were more in the 3.8K range just because that's what we were averaging. But then as the weeks went on, we were like, we could probably handle 3.9K. We could probably handle 4K. We kind of hung around 4K for a while. Then there were some roster moves. Some more people got brought on. Some more people started to get better at the game. And so now we're not really afraid to scrim anybody in the 4.2, we definitely hang around the 4K or the 4.1K. So the progress of the team has gotten good in that sense, and also we've at least on my end, I've done as much as I can to try to build team synergy with all the kids and try to get them to, not just queue up random, with 5 random people, but try to build sort of community and family. And so and obviously with the fact that nobody really sees each other face to face, it's a little hard with some of the players, but that's kind of where we're at right now. I think our progress has been really good. I think we've been really grinding these last couple months really hard, just getting ready for Open Division, and yeah, I think we're compared to where we were at, when we first started. I think we're in a pretty good place right now.
How do you guys feel you stack up against in the Open Division against all the other teams?
So, and this is the thing with the new team is these guys don't have any team experience, like 0 team experience, and so they don't have any idea of how it is to go up against a team where you have to, you do whatever you can to win, right? Like we've done performance scrims, which is kind of the same thing, but like, being in and we've done some tournaments, so they've experienced it a little bit. So in tournaments, we've been able to hang with 4.1K teams, most Open Division teams right now. That's kind of where they sit, unless they're just some insane contenders team. So I think we stack up pretty well. I think we could honestly match up with nearly anybody in Open Division that we get matched up against. I think it's just going to come down to like how we play and how we limit our own errors, which is something that we've been working on. Lately that's been the last big push for us is we got to eliminate the errors. These little micro errors that we don't really think about in our play. We got to eliminate them. But if we eliminate those and we play near perfect games, honestly, we can pretty much stack up against anybody at this point. I have a lot of confidence that we could pretty much give anybody a run for their money.
Think you guys could make it to the finals and work your way into contenders?
I mean, that's such a hard question. Obviously, the answer you want to say is yes. Obviously, like, yeah, hell yeah, we're going to get to, but again, the way we look at things or the way I look at things is you just got to, especially because this is the first Open Division season we're hitting. The first of anybody that's listening that has done any kind of competitive anything, everybody knows the first of anything is always like kind of the toughest one. So the first season Open Division, this will be like literally our toughest one just because of the lack of experience. As far as how far we can make it, I mean, I don't see us dropping that many games, to be honest. I see us probably making some sort of playoffs. I think the big thing for us is just to focus on the next matchup kind of a thing. Obviously, as a coach, that's what you want to preach to the players. Mm-hmm. Just focus on the next one. Focus on we do as best as we can with scouting, just because it's not professional. It's not pro right now, so it's like we don't have like film on other teams and stuff like that. But we do our best to scout. Figure out what the other team might want to run. Try to figure out what we could run against it, stuff like that, and then think of possible scenarios and stuff. But that's again just week to week for the players. But for our coach, I mean, obviously the goal is to make it pretty far. Make sure that we stay focused as far as the players go. That's at least on our end what we're trying to do, and always think ahead as far as like if we make the playoffs, how are we gonna treat the roster? If we make it, X far, how we're gonna treat the roster? But honestly, like I really do think we can go pretty far. I really do think we can.
I hope so. That'd be very nice. Be like a rookie org right into the playoffs.
Yeah, be dope.
Yeah, that'd get some attention.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your strengths and weaknesses are as a team?
I think our biggest strength right now is pretty much the fact that we have a couple players that I think have a very good leadership type attitude. One of them being Zach, our main tank. I really think we lean on him a lot. For better or for worse, but I think he definitely is someone that has stepped into a leadership role since this whole thing kind of started. And whenever you have that on a team, that's just like huge. Like you don't want just everybody to be a follower. You want somebody to kind of rise up and be a bit of a leader and to have the team kind of work around him as far as the leadership role goes. So that's a huge strength for us, is just having that one guy that we feel like can really morally carry the team through open division just because of how grinding it is. And also, I think the big strength we have right now is that a lot of our players are, mechanically gifted. Most of our players have been in GM in past seasons. I think the GOATS meta kind of killed a couple of the DPSs, SRs. So our hit scan DPS has been in 4.2K. He was on McCree, Tracer, Soldier, and then obviously with the meta switch, his SR took a big hit when you had to start playing, more tanks and stuff like that. So he's sitting at 3.8, but obviously with the meta changing now again, he can get back up there. But that's kind of the same story with a lot of players. I mean, our main healer, right, the main support player, she's been at 4.2, or our off support player hit top 500, just recently. We have a we have a lot of strength when it comes to mechanical play. It's just the team that has to kind of meld together, and I guess that's where the biggest weakness is just that, like, we have moments where we meld really well as a team, and then we have moments where the morale kind of tends to dip a little bit, just depending on what's going on in the scrim. Obviously, these kids go to school, so I don't know what's going on with school or whatever, but like, it's just, that's kind of the biggest weakness, I would say, is just the more time we have together to get all this right, the stronger we're just going to get. And that's really the biggest thing, is just learning how to play with each other, because that's just one of the hardest things to do, is just, it's for people that are in the pro level right now, whether it's Overwatch League or contenders or whatever, like, they can bounce from team to team and find a good fit. But for like a rookie, esports organization, you find one team, and if it doesn't work out, then you can spend a long time trying to find another team. So that synergy is really important to build, with any configuration of whatever the roster is. And again, that's kind of where our weakness is right now.
So for those who don't know the format, what is the format of the open division? Is it like single elimination?
No, so basically they throw you in for 11 weeks, and the way the seeding, I'm not 100% sure how it works, but the way it works is you get 11 matches. They try to do their best to match you with either similar SR, or they try to match you with similar SR and record. So if you like lose your first game, then the next weekend you'll play another team that has also lost their first game, things like that. Same thing if you win or whatever. And then out of those, whoever places in the top, I want to say it's 100, but I'm not sure. Whoever places in a certain bracket, they're the ones that get basically put into the playoff. The playoff bracket.
Top 100, top 100 bracket.
I think it's 100, but I'm not 100% sure.
That's fine, but that's basically how it works.
Yep.
Cool. So I don't have any more, really much more questions, except what goals do you have for yourself as a coach?
I mean, this is my first team. I have pretty extensive background in coaching, though, as far as coaching other sports and stuff. But this is my first like esports team. So honestly, right now, and I'm treating this the way I used to treat when I first started coaching, football and stuff like that. Is just, I just need to soak up as much information as I can to pass along with the team. I also need to do my best to make sure that the organization is and the Overwatch division is running as smoothly as possible. That's something that I preach all the time to everybody, whether it's the staff that I'm kind of building right now, the coaching staff that I'm building right now, whether it's the players, and me. It's like, there's no egos that are allowed in here. Nobody's above the team, nobody's above the organization. So if you're in a state where someone can teach you something, don't be that guy that's like, oh, I know everything. So as a coach, that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to make sure that I don't have that attitude either. And I'm trying to bring in other coaches and other staff members that can not only teach the players, but can teach me and can teach each other. Because at the end of the day, that's the point, is for all of us to grow and learn together, and get this ball rolling, and and win. At the end of the day, that's the point, is for Soesic to win. It's not for me to win coach of the year, or for a certain player to get main tank of the year, or for a coach to get assistant of the year. That's not the point. The point is for the organization to win. And that's kind of what my big drive is, and that's to do just to bolster up this Overwatch division as much as pretty much possible as far as I can stretch it. That's my goal as a coach and as the COO, I guess, is the official title. But that's kind of what my goal is with this team.
Sweet. Now, what's it been like coaching an Overwatch team compared to your classic sports?
The biggest difference is just the face-to-face thing. I didn't think it was going to be that big a deal, but it really is. I mean, when you're when you're coaching a player, because I coach football, I coach a lot of defense, I coach a lot of linebackers. Um, and so you can tell how a player is doing based on body language, right? Body language, facial expression. You're with them through film. You can get in their ear and stuff like that. And you can, and obviously with the punishment, you can punish players in a physical sport, whether it's football and doing up downs, whether it's wrestling and doing laps. I don't know, whatever they do, whether it's anything, right? And so with an esports team, it's a little different. You kind of you don't have that ability to be able to tell exactly what's going on in the player's head because all you can do is hear their voice, and see their play. That's it. Um, and also, whenever you're trying to be hard on a player, you can never really gauge whether or not, like, am I being effective? Am I not? Like, to an extent you might know, but when it comes to traditional sports, you can see it immediately on a kid's face whether or not you're getting to them, and that's kind of where I think the biggest difference is just the physically being in front of a kid is just the hardest thing. And also with traditional sports, I'm used to being on staff with, like, 10 to 14 different people on a staff, and that's something that obviously we're going to be working towards. Not maybe that big, but that's the other side of it too, is that with esports, it's just like there tends to just be like one or two coaches. But even in like Overwatch League, people don't realize there's like a staff of like 9 guys all coaching one team, and so that's kind of where I think people forget about that when it comes to esports. People just think that there's just one dude telling them how to click the heads better, but when in reality there's this whole gigantic staff of people. And that's kind of where I'm trying to build my way up to, because now I'm seeing how tough it is, just me and one other guy that's right now that I've brought in to help me out with coaching. It's rough, not easy, a lot of work that has to be done. And if we want to grow, that's one thing that we need to do. We need to bolster the staff if we want to grow, because the team's only going to be as good. I mean, Zach said it at the beginning, like it's the staff is kind of the crux of it all. There are going to be plenty of players out there, but trying to find a good staff to have good heads and don't have egos and can work with each other and this and that. It doesn't matter who comes into play now, because you build a culture and you build a good staff that can make any player fit the culture. And so that's kind of where like a huge difference is at right now. It's just that, like, I don't know if that's like a thing in esports. I know I know it is for like the top tier teams, but I don't know how many teams in like our tier tend to think of esports that way, where it's like they're just too worried about just winning the game, whether it's like rather than us, where I think we're a little more long-term thinkers, where it's like, let's build a culture around what Soesic means. Is it are we just an aggressive team? Are we more passive? Are we more friendly? Are we not that we're toxic, but are we cocky? Like, where do we stand? And so that's kind of where that's a challenge right now. That's very different from traditional sports, because in traditional sports, it's football is you're right now, football is such an old sport. It's really easy to join a team and say like, oh, this is the culture of this team, so I can just adjust. But here it's like esports is so kind of new, especially at this tier. It's having to find that method of finding a culture and building that culture that is just tough. I mean, it's not easy.
Well, thank you guys for all of your answers and your time. Yeah. That's all the questions I have. Is there anything?
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Is there any thing you want to say to any of the fans of Soesic out there? Any potential fans?
I mean, on my end, the biggest thing for a fan, future fan, follow the team currently, whatever, like it's gonna be exciting for people to be able to tune in, later on and see kind of how far we've come as an organization, because I don't think this is something that, like, I'll be honest, like I've really enjoyed working with Zach, because I feel like he is more looking for the right people to fill roles rather than just grabbing the highest I just need the top tier coach that I can find, or I need the top tier players that I can find. No, we're trying to build something a little more long lasting. And so, for anybody that's watching this video later, or maybe you're watching it, tomorrow on the new website. I don't know how fast it's gonna get uploaded. Just just watching us grow is gonna be so exciting. I really think so. And it's just because, not just for Overwatch, but like, the battle royale teams right now. I know the battle royale coach is doing a ton of work. I've talked to him a little bit while I was streaming. He was in my chat. We were just talking back and forth. Like, definitely it's going to be really exciting to see where we sit in the months to come, the year, whatever. And people just need to tune in and just get excited, because it's definitely something that is really strong in its infancy, and it's really only going to get stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the exact same thing. I would just say, like, just kind of keep an eye on us building this, metaphorical giant snowball, and get ready for it to be huge, because that's what we've been working on for a couple months. And like, when you're involved in it, you can really see it grow. But then, like, if you're not as involved, it's just gonna appear to kind of blow up out of nowhere, I think, because all it takes is us to win playoffs on one game, and or have one design that blows up. And we have so many people out grinding every day. Like I said, there's like 40 people just in the eSports org, and then it was like non-existent less than 6 months ago. So it's growing and it's getting huge.
Yeah, and the goal is the same thing for Overwatch. I mean, if you're just here for the Overwatch team, trust me, like, the plans that we have, I don't want to say anything too much, but the plans that we have, leading up to Open Division, which is this week, after Open Division, again, the goal is just to grow and grow and grow and grow, and to just grind that growth. That's kind of what I have my eyes set on right now. That's my I'm not only focused on coaching, I'm focused on building. Really, like, that's really the big goal right now, is just to build. And I'm constantly looking for opportunities. I mean, I made some pretty good relationships with some university teams. I've some other random tier 3 teams that we scrimmed, and we had a good scrim, so we build relationships there, and we ended up picking up a pretty good coach from those relationships. And that's kind of what, again, that's kind of what my goal is just always look for that edge to build something and to make it grow. And I really love what what the battle royale team has done, and that's kind of what we're trying to model right now, where it's like, would it be far-fetched to double the roster to 12, or whatever, or 16, and get the coaching staff up to 6 to 8 people, and have like an academy team? Like, like, nothing is out of the question. It's just a matter of time, really. So whether it happens after this Open Division or the next season, like, the point is to grow, and the point is to always look for improvement, or else you're going to stagnate, and it's just gonna, it's not going to go anywhere. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. That'll be the end of the interview, and I will talk to you guys some other time. Thank you.
Sweet.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the questions.
No problem. Bye.